think the way I want to do it is Governor Sununu of New Hampshire actually has gone on ABC, and he's thinking of running for president. And his big issue, because he's trying to put a shot across the governor of Florida's bow about his taking on Disney, and he doesn't think it's right for politicians to be taking on a capitalist. So he's all over the governor, but he's really taking a shot at you. He's saying, hey, the Republican virtue is to let business be business and let the free market forces make changes here. Why is that not just naive? Why is that thinking dangerous when he's really trying to attack DeSantis, but essentially he's attacking you because you're at a much deeper level of this about the real politics of global corporations, sir.
Yeah, so I think that you can't recite slogans you memorized in 1980 trying to pretend like we're in 1980. All right, it's like what Dorothy might have said to the wizard, in the Wizard of Oz, we're not in 1980 anymore. And the reality is what we think of as the free market, that is no longer the free market today, Steve. The free market cannot fix what it is not free to fix when it has been captured. First of all, just domestically, it's this new merger of state power and corporate power that's far more powerful than either one alone. I don't even call it, for example, in the realm of censorship, big tech censorship anymore. Your listenership, stop calling it that. It's not big tech censorship. It is government tech censorship, right? Where government is using companies through the back door to do what it couldn't do through the front door under the Constitution. The same thing with respect to the economy, right? Alaskan drilling, Arctic drilling, perfectly legal. Why can no one lend to it? Because John Kerry, the climate czar, went around to private companies getting them to sign a climate pledge that got the Green New Deal done through the back door. They didn't need to pass it through Congress. So it's this merger. I mean, it's the classic Mussolini-esque definition of fascism, the merger of state power and corporate power to do what neither could on its own. And then the American system is supposed to be based on distributed power anyway, right? Distributed political power through the political process, distributed power through our old vision of capitalism. Well, when that power gets so concentrated, the combination of state power and corporate power, that's what lends itself to capture, right? And that's what the CCP recognized, is that if we can then use these companies as Trojan horses, getting them to sort of jump to our carrots and sticks, saying you can't enter the lucrative Chinese market unless you kowtow to the CCP. You can't enter the lucrative Chinese market if you criticize the CCP, but we'll actually open the door wide open if you're critiquing the United States or applying constraints like emissions caps over there. That effectively turns these companies into Trojan horses that advance the CCP's agenda from within. That's not free market capitalism. That is a hollowed out husk of free market capitalism. And just because we recite the slogans and mantras does not make it true. And there's nothing that irritates me more than conservatives who wish for a reality that was actually the one that we faced in 1980, when there's a Soviet Union that we could enter a Cold War with without making any real sacrifice because we didn't depend on them to power a modern way of life. When in fact the reality today is the entire multinational corporation apparatus based even here in the United States is beholden to China because Xi Jinping's boot is on their neck. That's not free market capitalism. That is a form of corporatism that requires leadership, and I think more precise state action. Doesn't mean I'm agreeing with everything DeSantis has done down the line, but his heart's in the right place to be able to take on this marriage of corporate power and state power rather than just reciting something that Ronald Reagan told us to remember for 40 years.